Hi, I'm Ryan Hollingshead, defender for LAFC, and this is The American Athlete. A lot of overlapping runs. Outside back, it's not for the faint-hearted, I will tell you that. You can argue for why every position in football is the hardest, but man, it is so much just running. At a young age, in youth football especially, it's all about whoever's the best player plays the most important position. So it's not really tactically based here in the US, especially back when I was playing. It was mostly like the dad that ran the local gas station was like the head coach, knew nothing about soccer, knew nothing about, this sport. Played all 4 years at UCLA. Had a really good year my senior year there. Won the Pac-12 Player of the Year. Was on a lot of radars to go get drafted and play in the MLS. There's some weird wording on declaring for the draft and all this stuff, but basically you start talking to coaches. Coaches are interested in you. They'll call you up and say, hey, we're interested in drafting you. Would you want to come play in Portland or Columbus or wherever at the time? And it was at this exact time that I was graduating college, about to go into the draft, that my oldest brother was going to go start a Christian church up in my hometown of Sacramento. And I was like, I'll be there. Wherever it is you tell me, I'm going to be there. We'll support you 100%. At the same time that the combine was happening for the MLS and then the draft was happening. And so I was like, oh man, what do I do? We've been talking about this for years, but this is also a chance to go play professionally, which is a dream of mine. And so these two dreams kind of collided. We think you're going to be too competitive to turn down this offer. If we incentivize this enough, if we make this worth your while, if we draft you early enough in the rounds, you can't say no to this. You're going to be too competitive to say no to a professional career. And so joke was on them. I said no, and I went back to Sacramento and I helped my brother start this church. And so for every 2 or 3 weeks, Dallas would call me and say, how's the family? How's your brother? How's the church? Are you ready to come play? I'm like, family's good, brother's good, church is still growing, not ready. And they would call me every 3 weeks, and the church is just in the background slowly growing. And my brother comes to me after we officially launch, and he's like, hey, I have the budget now to bring somebody on full-time staff. That can be you, or it could be somebody else, and you could try to go play. I think there's a side of him that felt guilty, like my brother turned down this professional career to be here with me. And so he said, this could be your chance to go. And I was like, all right, let me think about it. The next day, Dallas calls me again for the 30th time that year. They say, hey, the season's basically over. This is our last offer. Come join us in January. Let's start off the new year all together. I looked at my brother and he was like, you should do it. And we just agreed and got it done. The MLS Cup is next level in who can show up in the biggest games and the brightest lights and put it together and go win a trophy. And for all of my career, I had been on a team that was just falling short. And then I come to LA and it is clear we have everything we need to go win a cup. Coming in year one, being able to push to where we push, get some great players in. Gareth Bale, just an international superstar, getting to play with a guy like Carlos Vela, getting to play with veterans like Ilie Sanchez and Kellen Acosta. The locker room was so tight. It wasn't just about getting these big players with big egos. It was like finding the right guys that wanted to compete together to go win something and do something special. I mean, I'll remember it forever. It'll be, the videos will be what I show my grandkids and all that stuff. So amazing moment. You can't replicate it besides just going and doing it again. But then that led to me getting my first MLS All-Star call-up. And I think in the past, there have been moments where I've thought, hey, I've put enough stats together, I should be getting called into this. But I was in a small market with a team that's not on a lot of radars, that's maybe nationally getting 2 games televised a year. Dallas is just a small market in the football world. And so coming to LA, one of the biggest markets in the league, getting way more exposure, going and winning a cup, obviously showing that our team was the best in the league, and then having the stats that I had to go along with all of that from last year, I think was a big reason and why I finally got my first call up, which was so exciting. And you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm 32 years old. I haven't gotten called up yet. I've had, really good statistics, especially as an outside back. And I've been one of the top scoring outside backs before when I was in Dallas, but I was able to do that again in LA. But for the first year, it was like, okay, I've done this before, but now I'm 32. People probably don't care. I probably won't get the call up. It just wasn't even in my mind, because you get in this just rhythm or this pessimism that, okay, if it hasn't happened yet, why would it happen now? And so I hear the news, right? It gets the teams telling me that I've gotten called up to All-Star. And my first thought is, come on, you're playing. This is a joke, like not funny. And then it keeps they keep saying it and more people coming up like, dude, you're an All-Star, way to go. And I'm like, no way. It was just one of those moments where you're like, I don't play for the individual awards. I play for the cup, which we won. And that is like the thing that I'm mostly seeking. But to then get an individual award like that too, and say, but also we see the effort you've put in. We see the career that you've had. It's a cool accolade that, again, it's not about the individual player. It's not about me, but it is about, how hard I worked to get to where I've gotten, to come back after taking a year off, to a wife and 4 kids that support me through everything. Our schedules are crazy. I move across the country with them, take them out of school and all their friends. And, you just think about all of the things that go into you being a professional athlete. And to get an individual award, it's almost like, Mama, I made it, guys, we did it. So I almost felt more proud for, my supporting staff, the people around me, that it's like, hey, the sacrifice was not for nothing. Thanks for getting me to where you got me.